All right, so welcome to Team Tenacity's call. This is the Platinum Edge Part 1 edition. There's 3 nights, 3 days, like actually 2 full days, but part of Friday, all day is Saturday, and part of Sunday. So 1 o'clock p.m. on Friday to 1 p.m. Sunday. Lots of workouts, and all that content was based around one concept, which is really cool, but I couldn't get all of that in one team call. Too much awesomeness. I'd have to talk way, way too fast and keep you here for like 3 hours. So I don't want to do that. But the first thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's off the main theme of the whole thing, was to be you, be authentically you. We hear it so much. And what I loved about listening all 3 days to different teachings, different trainings, still with that being you foundation, it just reminded me how much we change. That's why it's so hard to figure out who we are because we're constantly growing, especially if we're in this business. Who you were a month ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, 6 years ago is so different. And so we are evolving. We are evolving into the person that we truly want to become. And you've heard it, fake it till you make it. You've heard, posture yourself as if you were a diamond coach, even if you're not. Or for me, posture myself like I have 10 diamonds, and how would I treat those people? How would I get on a call? So I grew just in the last 3 days, thinking about how I can be more authentic myself. Well, I'm my authentic self, but how am I going to share that through social media? And so the very first person that came out is the 2 topics that I'm going to share tonight, and they kind of mesh well together. So I'm going to screen share real quick and go over that with you. So this is part 1, Be You, Platinum Edge. And if you guys are not aware of what Platinum Edge is, it's a yearly summit or training. It's just like Summit, except that it's way smaller, way more intimate. And we had, I think, about 850 attendees at this event compared to Summit, which is over 30,000 people. You feel like you're being hustled and bustled, standing in line. It's very structured and all those things. And it's a great experience. I love Summit, and I'm so glad that I've gone 2 years in a row, and I won't ever miss one intentionally, ever. But this, to me, is more valuable in the sense of what I want to accomplish in my business. So the first one here is we take care of the things we love. So you have to find self-love, and I love that. So what I did was I just kind of took my notes and I pulled them and kind of made little bulletin points. And if I remember some of the things that they said about that, I'll share that with you as well. And these are just the things that really stood out to me. Hopefully other people will do team calls and share their takeaways too, because I loved at the very beginning how she congratulated us for being in that seat, because she knew that we were going to take this information and take it back to our team. But she said, honestly, you get the best part because you're here. It's like a telephone conversation. You learn what you learn, you write down what you write down, and then that message slowly loses its effect, because I can't remember everything they said, and I didn't write down every little thing that they said, but things that really resonated with me might be different for someone else that was sitting right next to me at the training. So if you can get to events, it makes so much more of an impact for you, and then you can start implementing the things that you learn right away. You don't have to wait for me to be brave enough and bold enough and to get on here and do live trainings like this, because this is new to me and it scares the crap out of me too. But I really want my team and those that are attracted to me and in my downline and in their downline and their coaches to start with the strongest foundation, and that is to be yourself. I don't know how many times the times that I've been messaging Melissa and saying, oh my gosh, she always reminds me, you have a good heart. You have good intentions. Don't worry about what everyone else thinks, because my business is built on the foundation of self-love. My mission is on self-love. So that does come naturally to me, but I'm like, man, I have to take that back to my team. We take care of the things we find, or we take care of the things we love. So you have to find self-love first. You have to be you, and you have to love who you are. And people who need you will relate to you only if you're being yourself. If you're being someone else, or if you're being who you used to be, you won't find the people that truly relate to you. And that makes it even harder to help them. So that really stood out to me. And this one's hard for me. Don't be someone else's version of me. Don't be a copy-paste version. And that hit me hard because Melissa really trains us. And she says, here is my content. Here are my posts. Don't copy-paste it and use it as is. But she's always saying, you can use my content, tweak it, personalize it. And that's true. You can be inspired by other people. But whenever we copy and paste, we think, oh, that person had a great response. And then you post it. And the people that know you, who you are presenting yourself to be, look at the post and say, that's not something that they would say. So one of the trainings, this is a little off topic, one of the trainings that I'll share with you was specifically on talk out loud as you type. And if you say you all, y'all, or however your slang is, if you say babe or love or sweetheart or whatever, when you're typing and sending out messages and emails, make sure that you are in there, how you talk. So if you find a good post and it's mine or Melissa's, and I don't care if you use it, just make sure you personalize it and make it about you so that you attract people that will relate to you. You don't want people to sign up with you, especially as a business leader or a teammate, and then you don't jive. It's the worst feeling in the world. Been there, done that. Makes it way more fun to attract people that you would love to hang out with every single day. All right. So if you guys have a piece of paper and a pen, I'm going to do a little thing they did with us. It was really good. I liked it, and I thought what they told us to do is do this with all new coaches. So I'll probably take this little part, and create a new video out of it. And maybe you can do the same thing, or maybe you could do a team call with your team specifically and just do this. I want you to take a piece of paper out, and you should write 5 things that make you freaking awesome. And yes, that's the word that they used. 5 things that make you freaking awesome. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. You can ask people what do they think makes you awesome. Sometimes they might surprise you. Only people that you trust, like your spouse or your best friend, positive people in your life. If you are like me, I have a really hard time talking about myself. And I have a hard time hearing someone give me positive affirmations. I just found that out this weekend. So if Charlene ever watches this playback, she sat across from me, and she said, Janice, you are an amazing leader. And I'm like I'm literally like an ant in my pants. I can't sit still. So uncomfortable hearing her speak to me like that. So it's something I need to get over, obviously. Work on. For the sake of the training, I'm going to go to step number 2, but make sure you do this. Make sure you have that piece of paper, and tonight before you put your head down on the pillow, you think of those 5 amazing things that make you who you are. What makes you freaking awesome? And normally it's the simplest things that we overlook because they're so engraved in who we are. It's the simple things, and that's what makes us unique and special. Step 2, what did you have to overcome to achieve those things? Like who you are now is usually because of you had to be super strong or overcome something from your past or a week ago. Sometimes it's that. But just think about the things that you've overcome and how you've achieved that. So you can write next to each thing that makes you awesome and think about why do you feel you're awesome at that now? So this helps you bring about who you are. So if you're struggling to find who you are, this exercise will help you. And so also help your team feel unique. They'll build their foundation on knowing it's okay to be themselves. Step 3, write out the top defining moments in your life, the big things like, oh my gosh, this happened to me. And you could think of these, 3 to 5 things as defining moments in your life. They're big. Sometimes they're small and they made a big, huge aha moment in your life. Maybe it's something that someone said, something that you overcame, something that you read, something that someone told you, right or wrong. But just really think about those defining moments. And then step 4, what is your message? So she put up a picture of this plane, And I should put one up too, now that I think about it. But the plane is going down. And you have, 3 minutes before the plane crashes. And you have a phone call to make to your loved ones. What are the 3 things? That's going to make me cry. What are the 3 things that you would want your family and your loved ones to know? What message would you want to leave with them? What things that you know now that you would want to pass on to that generation? So that one was a little harder for me, and we did it right there with them. And I can tell you 3 of mine real quick. I said, you have to speak to someone, and you've heard it so many times, speak to your avatar, speak to your niche, all those things. And in this situation, you have to think about who are those few people that you could call in 3 minutes and put on speaker. Who are those important people? They might not be your challengers. They might not be your team, but this is your mission in life. These are the things that really truly matter to you, or you wouldn't say them in the 3 minutes of the last bit of your life, and I put down, if I was speaking to my kids and my husband, I said, you mean the world to me, and you have made my life complete and meaningful. And I would say, I can't have asked for a better family. Each of you are amazingly talented and gifted in your very own way, and use that to be the change in the world around you. So those are the, she said, think fast, so when you teach your team this, when you open up this, step-by-step process, remember to make sure that they are thinking about their loved ones, and that this is not an exercise just for your business. We want to take who you are and weave that into your business. And then the last step, step 4, wait, maybe I forgot a step. Okay. So she talked about everyone wants to root for the underdog. So that's why she had us go back over the things, our struggles and the things we've overcome, those defining moments, because everyone wants to root for the underdog. If everyone feels like that we're perfect, we're not. We are all where we are today because of our past. And me personally, I know that's the devil trying to divide you from who you need to really share your message with, and he doesn't want that to happen. He doesn't want God to get that kind of glory. He doesn't want you to have that kind of freedom. So I know that's where it comes from. And so that's why I know I struggle sometimes to be my authentic self on Facebook, because I don't know how someone's going to take me. I'm sure you guys can relate to that. Mm-hmm. But people love rooting for the underdog. So if you can go back and think of the ways you've overcome, then you're going to be more relatable to the people that really need you. Going back to the top, you will help you attract the people that need you the most. So we want to be accepted, we want self-worth, and we want self-belief, but we have to be that person first. We have to realize who that is. So all of that work will help you get to the simple post template. And the simple template is how to writing out the post that will allow you to use your story from your past, your struggles, and share your message all at the same time. So if you go to my page, I think I did at least one of them right after this. I was like, ooh, I want to test it out. And it's going to take practice, and you don't want to sound like a robot. So you're going to be able to craft these stories easier and easier. But especially for new coaches, you guys, they're going to want to know how to post. And I'm going to add this type of thing into the 7-day social media training and the 2-week training, because you need to know how to create that post so where it's not just a picture of a beach body picture. You want to join me. Here's what you would do. A killer opening. I never thought that. Or I know you would never believe this. So you have to, that first sentence has got to capture them on that end. Then you back up to the story. Example, you say, you see, blah, 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 blah. Like, you see, like, I wasn't always this person, or whatever that story is. I'm going to give you an example at the end. And then number 3 is your message. Example. If you get nothing else out of this, please know that. What is your message? And then you tie that back to that airplane realization of the plane is going down, right? And then call to action. Example, now that you've heard this, please, whatever it is. And it might just be share something that you struggle with related back to your post. So I'll just read you mine. So she had us write these out, and then we shared them with our partner there. So if you do this with your team, you guys can go around and share that, especially if you do it on a new coach call, for everyone to meet each other. And she said, this kind of thing is what will help you feel more comfortable and confident. It reminded me of when I first started teaching group exercise classes, and in the training, they would make you get up in front of them and start teaching parts of the class. And they're like, this is the scary stuff, but you're in a room full of everyone that's new. You know, you're in a safe environment to practice and mess up. So that this type of thing, creating a post, sharing your story, opening up, being more vulnerable, finding your true self, doing it in a group setting like this, small, intimate, and sharing will make it a lot easier. So I'm really excited to learn this stuff and implement it in my team for sure. So I put down, and she asked us to keep shortening it, and it could be like our elevator pitch, you know, in a way. She said, you know, share something with your next person. So I said, I never thought that I would own my own business or lead others to build their own. You see, growing up, I had no clue what I wanted to be. I had no ambitions, and I hated reading, and I hated learning. I lacked self-confidence. I have never desired to go to college, and I didn't even know that these types of opportunities out there to own your own business were possible without education. If you get nothing out of this, please know that you can be, if you, I can't read my own handwriting. If you get nothing out of this, please know that you can, I think what happened is they're like, time's up, so I didn't finish my thought, but that you can just be yourself and you can still change the world around you. And I didn't get to the last part, which is always my hardest, the call to action. And you know, after reading this, like, you know, how do you feel or whatever. So I need to play with that. I obviously need to work on that, because I even think the post that I put out there, I forgot the call of action. And a lot of us do. The call of action helps us get to the where we want to go. And without that, we don't have that communication. We don't have people liking and commenting, and then not, you know, you want more people to see that post. So that's why this is a great template. It should get some interaction if you do it correctly with the call to action. All right. So the next speaker was talking about igniting your potential. Did anybody have questions before I move on?
Did you post that already?
My post that I've made with that kind of format?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe it was Saturday that I posted it. I'm trying to think of what it was. I think it was a picture of the girls that I was at Platinum Edge with. There was a long line of us. I was talking about I used to not have very many girlfriends.
Your vibe attracts your tribe?
Yes, I think so. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? I hope I hit record on this. Oh my gosh. I don't think I
did.
Okay, good. All right, igniting your potential. So there are no mistakes, just steps. Take the steps. So a lot of us, especially if you've been in this business for a while, it's like we kind of lose. A lot of people will say motivation. We all know, if you've ever taken anything from Josh Coates, that motivation won't get you anywhere, and it won't get your challengers anywhere, because we lose that. That just comes and goes. So is igniting your potential. It's like a fire in your belly that you got to keep flame. So this one was really good. I really love this because it's a roller coaster. As we know, if you've read The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, you know that's just the way of network marketing. No one is in this business that doesn't experience that. No one in this business always stays at the top, and no one at the business stays at the low unless they're not doing anything. But to ignite your own potential. So that's igniting that fire that's in your belly. And a lot of people think that their mistakes are what slow them down, that if they make a mistake, they're done. This isn't for them. And no, there are no mistakes, just steps. So just take the steps. If you miss taking the steps, that's the mistake. And I love that, because without taking those steps, and you learn from each one, you know, I can't even imagine being an elite team a year and a half ago. I didn't even have that on my radar. I just needed to take the steps to hit Emerald. Then I just needed to take the steps to hit Diamond. And sometimes we think too far away, and then we make these mistakes, and we don't know what those steps are between here and there, because we're still working on A and B steps, and we're worried about C and D steps. And you have to take the steps. You actually have to go through each process before So there are no mistakes if you're taking the steps. And hopefully I'm making as much sense as that made to me, because I was like, wow. So your struggles and your experiences and all the no's and all the seeds you plant. And, Arthenia always tells me, like, I think I just made, a really big goof up. I'm like, that's okay. Like, I make them all the time. And it's a learning opportunity. So, and then another thing, sometimes we lose, we need to light our potential because life happens. You'll have to fight and fight for the life you want. It's not going to be easy. And she talked about how it was a flame. Your potential is a flame. If you think about that seriously, we all have potential, but if you don't use it, it dies down. Like, it's already in you. It's not like something you have to go find. Like, God already placed that potential in you. We all have different skills. We all have different gifts. We're all going to have different strengths, but it's what you need to accomplish and set out to share your story and your mission is already inside of you. You just got to keep it flamed, because life is not always a high. Life's not always joyful. Life's not always easy. And so you have to remember that. And knowing that is half the battle. A lot of people think that once you become a Christian, nothing bad's going to happen to you. Same thing. Everyone thinks, well, this person is doing really well in this business, and if I don't, then it's not right for me. Not true. Those people had so many struggles, and they had to keep their potential lit. So it's like a flame. You have to keep breathing air into it. And so here's some of the things that she went over to how to keep that. You have to have complete clarity on who you are. Again, they dabble that in there, and think about who they are following. So if for instance, Catherine, who are you? Who are your followers following? You have to put yourself in their shoes. And if you were someone else looking back at following yourself, who are they following? And that just really helped me think about what I want to post, what I want to put out there, and why it's so important to be authentically me, because they need to know who they're following. They need to trust me. And another person, not related to this, it was Danielle Natoni, said, how many things have you bought online without knowing the person, $140 item? Have you ever personally purchased something for $140 from someone you didn't know online? And I was like, no. That is why this is so important, to be yourself and to build relationships. And you are the product that you're selling. She said you could put these products on a shelf at Walmart and they will sell themselves. They're very well-known products now. They don't need, like some companies, no one knows what they are unless the person pushes the product. That's not how Beachbody is, because we didn't start as a network marketing company. All you have to do is have P90X playing in the background of you telling and sharing some really helpful content, inspiration, whatever, teaching them how to do something. And they see P90X, they're going to ask you questions, because the products sell themselves. Now you're just working on selling yourself, which is easier anyway than trying to sell a product. So have complete clarity. That will help you ignite your potential by being clear about who you are and why people are following you. So she shared two definitions, Webster's definition of optimism. You have to have optimism to keep that ignite. You have to stay positive, hopefulness and confidence about the future or the successful outcome of something. Not where you are now, but what's to come. You have to stay hopeful. And the Urban Dictionary's definition is when you keep a pair of jeans for more than 3 years thinking you'll fit into them again, right? Just reminded me about my team. Like, the team name is Tenacity, having that tenacious spirit to not give up and not, persevere. It reminded me of the same thing. Like, I'm holding on to these jeans because come hell or high water, I'm going to fit into them, right? That's being optimistic. I love it. You have to be optimistic in the future of the coaches that you're going to attract and the future of the challenges. You have to be optimistic about them having results. All those things, you have to kind of like think those things, because what you think on becomes our reality, right? You have to stay optimistic. And I really love that. I don't know if you've ever seen someone else doing something. I have many, many times. They're like doing something awesome in this business. And I'm like, oh, I could do that. I could do that. And then you should, if you say that, you should also say, so why don't I? The speaker was telling someone I could do that, and the person on the other end said, well, why don't you then? And the reason why you should do that is because you can. You have to start telling yourself, I can because I can. And it's so true. A lot of the times we think of great ideas, like I said, I'll think of something and then I just don't do it. But you can. It's just as easy to say you can and do it than it is to talk yourself out of it. So rock resilience. I had to look up the word resilience for this because, you think that know words sometimes. And I'm like, okay, if I want to rock resilience, I better know exactly what resilience means. Because if I'm going to kill it, if I'm going to rock it, I want to know. And so it's recover quickly from difficulties and struggles. And wow, I'm so glad Catherine's on the call. This reminds me of Darren Daly. If you're not listening to those, do it. It's the simplest 3 minutes of your day for personal development. I just listen to it on the way back from dropping my kids off at school. It's that short. And I do it every day. It's just one daily. And he said one time he remembered when he would be down and out. So we're talking about igniting our potential, right? He said, I would be down and out for 2 weeks sometimes. And then he said, you know what, this is not okay. So then he shortened it to a week. And then he said, then it was 2 days. And now he only allows himself 20 seconds to 2 minutes he's like, now there's going to be bigger situations in your life and you're going to have to get them over quicker than you're used to. You got to practice that. But most of the time we're dealing with things that do not have that big of an effect or impact on our life. If we just deal with it in a short period of time, it's the longer we dwell on it. And if we take forever to recover from it, that's when it impacts us. It won't if we just get mad, whatever, write it down in our journal and be like, okay, now's a new day. And so you just recover quickly from those difficulties and struggles. So rock resilience. That'll help you keep your flame for your potential, igniting your potential. Excuses are one of the things that damper your potential big time. She was talking about that a lot. Again, the you part was in here so much. You are too important for your excuses. So and she also said, and I can't remember if I added this or not, but your excuses are usually based out of your fear or your reasoning. And so you talk yourself out of what you wanting to do, but you can't do that because you are too important to do that. If you are what makes this business so valuable and you are what's going to make it so successful, you can't give yourself excuses or an out. So, and I have a lot of growth in my own life on that. So that hit me hard. You are preparing yourself for the most challenging time of your life. It hasn't even happened yet. You think that you've gone through a lot, but those things have just prepared you for something else. There's always going to be a struggle. That's just life. And and I think the greatest thing the devil has ever done to lie and distract us is to think that life's going to get easier and easier and easier and easier and easier. No. God just shows us how we can get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger through those things. And if we can just flip that switch, when it happens, we will be able to get through it better, faster, stronger, see it from being optimistic, right? Just love how all of this pulled together so well. And like I said before, you are what you think about. And so she talked about creating change in your environment, because sometimes what dampers our potential and our flame is our environment, our workspace. It could be as simple as our desk. We've all heard that, you have sometimes if you're super unfocused and you're uninspired and unmotivated, is because of where you're sitting. I have a desk office and I try to make it look really nice, but there's no windows over there. So I'm like, it's just like a junk space. And I just make sure my table is clear at my kitchen table every day. And there's 3 big windows in here. There's plenty of light and have my flower. And, I just keep it tidy and I can work better in that environment. And then the biggest thing that they talked about is your friends and your influences. You are who your friends are, period. There's no way to be around other people and not be influenced by them in some way. She went deep into that, and I'm sure you've heard of that. No one intentionally screws up their life. Typo. It's not something you or they plan on. So if you're hanging around people that just have a screwed up life, they're not intentionally that way always. Sometimes they don't even realize what they're doing to cause that. But if you're trying to keep your potential and your flame fired up, you can't surround yourself with those types of people because they will put your fire out. They need rescuing. And right now you are trying to build a business and you are too important to have excuses. And having someone in your life like that is just another distraction or excuse or a reason not to do the things that you know you need to do. Growing in yourself, personal development, creating a space for your environment. You will get distracted by those people that are constantly sucking life out of you. But it's not intentional. And sometimes that's our problem, especially people in this industry. We want to help people. We have the heart to help people. So when we see someone literally struggling, we want to go rescue them. And I just went through this. Like, I wanted to help so bad that this month I'm sitting at Success Before. This is my excuse, and I let it happen. I'm not blaming that because I realize it's me, and I let that distraction take me away, for a good 3 or 4 days, and I let someone else's mess of a life that they didn't intentionally create, affect mine. So you can change your environment. You can change your friends. You can change your workspace, and all of those things. So there's books out there on that. This is a really cool story. I don't even know how I'm doing on time here, but hang in here with me. I tried looking for a video that I could share with you guys, and so it wouldn't be so boring just listening to me to talk the whole time. But I don't know, anybody here have ever heard the frog and the scorpion story?
No.
Nope. Okay. So I'm just going to read it off. A scorpion and a frog meet on the bank of a stream, and the scorpion asks the frog to carry him across on its back. The frog asks, "How do I know you won't sting me?" The scorpion says, "Because if I do, I will die too." The frog is satisfied, and they set out. But in midstream, the scorpion stings the frog. The frog feels the onset of paralyzation and starts to sink, knowing they both will drown, but just enough time to gasp. He has just enough time to gasp. Why? And the scorpion replies, "It's my nature." And wow, like when she shared it, and she's a really good storyteller, the girl that did it, and I was like, so true. And you can look at yourself that way. It's in your nature. If you know yourself well enough, it's in your nature. You're going to have to set things up in place to where you don't allow procrastination or the things that are in your nature. You've got to intentionally take responsibility for that. But then on the other flip side, the frog should have known better, right? Listen to your intuition the first time whenever you're picking your friends, and if you see the toxic situation and just see it for what it is. I have a hard time with that. Like, there'll be signs and there'll be red flags, and we just don't pay close enough attention to those things that God's trying to show us. And we just go with our nature. If you're a helping person, you just do that over and over again. But I really thought that was so crucial for us in this business when it comes to protecting your environment and choosing your friends wisely and your business partners. And also this is why it's so important to attract the right people, and you will attract the right people. If not, you're going to attract toxic people into your business, and you don't want that to happen. And you need to be able to recognize that right away. And here's what I was telling you earlier, the law of diminishing intent. So if in your nature is to procrastinate or say you're going to do something and not, the longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds you'll never actually do it. And man, that is so true in my life. Anybody else agree?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I was like, oh, smack me right upside the head. I'm very procrastinational, what if that's a word, by heart. It's definitely a flaw I've always had, and it's very, very true. But once I saw it that way, I'm like, okay, just like this team call, I just need to do it now. I'm not going to wait until the first Tuesday of the month. I'm going to do it now and just consider it a team training and not a team call where it's not traditional, but that's okay. You cannot change your life unless you change the things you do every day. And I know we've heard this so many times, but it is hard to break bad habits. And we are asking people in our challenge groups to break habits all the time. So talk about these things. And Catherine's really good about this. She's always talking about her struggles on social media, and she talks about, I need to do this. And she owns up to that. She's very vulnerable about the changes that she needs to make in her life, because it's hard. It's hard to do on your own. It's hard if you keep it a secret. It's hard. And if we do that, we will help the people we're trying to help. We'll help the coaches that feel like, they have things in their life and bad habits that are going to really hinder them from having the success that they choose to want in this business. And if you get tired, sometimes you just need to learn to rest and not to quit. If you were at Summit, I remember one of the ladies saying, you can quit today, but you can't quit tomorrow. Like that's where your flame, your of potential just goes down the drain when you take that time off. It's the momentum that you're building, just like with weight loss. You just slowly, every day, the same things. It's monotonous. It's sometimes boring, and there's not always joy in everything we have to do in this business to keep going. But you can't quit, and sometimes you just need a rest. So the last 3 days while I was at this training, I really took time to just rest. And even this morning, I went and did yoga, and I almost fell asleep on the yoga mat. I was so tired from the event and all the workouts that we've been doing. And then yoga didn't get my heart rate up at all. So, I just literally like twice in child's pose just thought I was going to, I'm like, kind of, how you startle yourself. And I normally come up and I go live and read my devotional on live and talk about it or something. I just laid down on the couch and fell asleep. Before I did, I set my alarm to what time I needed to wake up the boys. So I didn't do that. As soon as I got back from taking one kid to the school, I got up and fed him and got him dressed and everything. And then after I took a nap again. My oldest son, he fell asleep too. They must have had a fun weekend. But, I just rested. And because I heard this week, I was like, yes, I'm not even going to be able to do this team call tonight. If I don't get some sleep, I'm tired. So just know when to rest, but never quit. Potential, flaming that potential. You have to make personal development. It's non-negotiable, guys. Whether you're a coach in this business and you're just my friend, I would still tell people to do personal development. I'm sharing personal development all the time that doesn't even relate to business owning. It is so important. It's changed my life more than anything. You need to start talking to your challengers about spending time in personal development, making that appointment with you. How are you going to get any better? How are you going to be the best you? And how are you going to share you if you don't grow you? And like I said before, you are going to grow, and that's why it's so hard to feel like you know who you are, because you're thinking, well, sometimes it's like, this is not who I really want to be. Well, that's okay. That is who you are, though. Too bad. It's sad, and that's the struggle. Those are the insecurities and things like that. Just get them out in the open and start growing and making sure you do something with personal development. It's only complaining if you don't do anything about it, right? Mm-hmm. Doing something about it. You're intentionally seeking out where you're struggling. Find a book for it. If I don't know the answer to what personal development book would work best for where you are, I'll find someone that does. Law of attraction, follow me, follow who. So, I've kind of talked about that, but by being yourself. So when you want people to follow you, and there was, Danielle Natoni also talked about followers. She said, I have X amount of followers, but she was talking about what percentage of them are from like other countries. It's pretty funny because she's like, you don't want to be popular. It's not about how many people follow you. It's about the quality. It's about who's following you. And so it's so true. It's like, if you're not being yourself, then who's following you? And that's not a good way to protect your environment whenever you have weirdos following you. So who are they following? Make sure you understand, who are they following? What are they following you for? I guess I put that in there twice. Okay. You can't logic. Any questions yet? I know I'm going fast.
I just want to know if you're going to put this up in the
Yeah, I'm going to record it. Mm-hmm. It's recorded. As long as it is recorded, yeah, I will. And I can give you a copy of this PDF as well. Okay, so you can't logic your way through this business, meaning you can't understand everything all at once to get through it. You will need to just really follow your heart. You must seek out the good, the positive, and the happiness, and you just have to enjoy the ride. Enjoy every piece of fun in the ride, even the misery stuff. You have to make it intentional. That's the only way you'll ignite your potential. And you can ignite your potential because you can. And she just kind of pulled all of that together. That's why I kind of put that there. But it's so true. A lot of people think, well, when I understand this, or when I get to Emerald, or when I do this, I will do that. And she's saying there's no logic to this type of business. There's logic to some network marketing company businesses, but they're trying to push a product because no one knows the product. So they have very structured and rigid, you need to do it this way. It's icky and it's a turnoff and it sounds pushy, and they keep adding people to these groups with, how many groups have you been added to this week that you did not ask to be a part of? That's the way they're teaching people, because that's how they're getting people's eyeballs on their things. And we had some amazing leaders there in network marketing that had done other companies, and they said that Beachbody was so special because we don't have to sell a product. People know our products. And two, we are being trained to be ourselves and brand ourselves, not the product. So it was really good. So to keep your flame ignited, you have to breathe those things in. People search their whole lives for something like this. I'm telling you, whatever Beachbody brings into your life, there are people out there searching for this. And Beachbody might not be it, but just realize what you have. Like, this is everything. That's what I wrote down in my own notes, not something she said. This is everything I've ever wanted to do in life, is to help people. If I think back when I was in 4th grade, like being a mini counselor to my friends, I didn't realize that until I was intentionally made to think back to the little things that I did as I grew up. And it's so true. I love talking to people about their problems. I love getting on the phone with Catherine and talking about her struggles and what she's going on in life, not in business, but in life. It's like my favorite thing. And because who she is matters to me more than what she can do for my business, 100%. And that's because of who I am. And that's because I'm attracting people like Catherine into my life. And I love it.
I love you.
I love you. So just remember that people are out there searching for something that we have. We have exactly what a lot of people are missing. We are that hole in their heart. And I really believe that, mainly because I know our team, and even Miranda's, if they're on here, because I know she invited some of her teammates. I mean, we have God as the center of our business. We have faith and we believe, and I know we're passing that on. So I know the business is not what fills their hole in their heart. I just know that God brought this business, and that's what God did for me to fill that void and allow me to use my passion and purpose. So I 100% am confident sharing this with other people, because most likely the people that are going to be attracted to me are also believers. So it makes it easier, right, to talk about faith and be okay with it, not worry about what anyone else thinks. When you feel like giving up or feeling defeated. So here's what they said to foolproof. 10 most important things I want out of a job. So even without Beachbody being on the plate, what are the 10 most important things you want out of a job? This is something you could talk to a prospect about. Make them list out what they want in a job. If they're unhappy and that's the cues that they've given you in a conversation, they're like, I just hate what I do. Well, instead of saying I have the perfect solution for you, say, what are 10 important things out of a job that you would want, and make them list it and see how many of those things would align with Beachbody. Let them see that for themselves. So if you created a list of the things that you want, that will help you remind you why this is your dream job. So when that flame, when you feel like defeated or giving up in this business, which I have felt that way many times, it's hard. It's not always easy. I have to remember why I do this and why it's important to me. And so you have to write out those 10 things that you want in a job. So instead of thinking, oh, well, I'll just go work here and build this on the side. But what if that job takes you away from everything that you've ever wanted completely? And now you're not happy, and now you're not spending the time that you need to build this business or whatever it is. So think about it. If that job is not going to hinder and it's still in line with what you want to do, it's still helping people and it's allowing you to attract new people, hey, it's going to feed your business. It might be a positive, it might be a great thing to do, but compare it to that. Compare it to what you want out of your dream job. And then another thing, when you feel like giving up, this one was so good. Create a list of 100 things that prove that you are good at this. So what have you already achieved in this business? Who have you already helped in this business? Look back and remember how far you have come as a person and how you make an impact in others' lives. You've already done that. And sometimes you just need to be reminded. Hi, honey. Ask other people too. If you have challengers, just be like, you don't have to be negative Nancy in there until you're having a down day, but just be like, hey, how has this group helped you? Feed your ego a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. We're always giving out, but in a way where they get to brag about themselves, and then you get to see that positive effect that you're making on other people's lives and fill your tank back up to why you're doing this. So go find all of those little messages in your inbox and text messages that you've got, emails that you've got, and reread those and just look back at how you've helped other people and those you have inspired, and believe in yourself. It'll help you believe in yourself again. I love that. And then how you do anything is how you do everything. So when you are feeling defeated and like nothing's working, go back to what was working. Sometimes we start to see shiny little things. Oh, let me try this. Oh, let me try that. Go back to what's working. Prime example. The challenge tracker does not work for me. It's like out of sight, out of mind. I will check in because there's money attached to it, and it's super easy for me to click yes to drink my Shakeology, and I love taking selfies. Super easy. But it's definitely, not helping me stay connected with my challengers like I like. I do ongoing challenge groups. I do weekly prize giveaways. We do nightly check-ins. And all those things fill my tank whenever at the end of the day, and I get to see their check-ins and their questions, and they rate themselves on 1 to 5. I mean, that's what I love to do. I never even realized how much I love challenge groups until I found something that worked. So in October, I'm going back to what worked. If you did it once, I love this. If you did it once, you can do it again. If you sign 3 coaches in a week, you can do it again. You can hit the same goal over and over again, and that's how this business is built. You just keep hitting emerald over and over and over again, and you just keep helping people hit emerald over and over and over again. That's it. It's that simple. That's how you build this business. You keep running challenge groups over and over and over again, and sometimes that is what makes it not so sexy. It's not always glamorous, but going back to those 100 those 100 things that prove that you're amazing at what you do, helps you keep going. And that's the thing. You're going to keep going. You don't have to start over. Some of the VIPs got up and asked that question. Like, if you just have been talking to the wrong people, you've been attracting the wrong people, you've been doing it the wrong way, you've been pushy, you've been salesy, whatever, she said, how do you start over? And she says, you don't. You just own up and say, I've been doing this the wrong way, and you keep going. Starting over does make you feel pretty defeated. So helping people creates that fire in your belly, but life will try to put that fire out. Keep igniting it. Don't forget why you started this in the first place. And last but not least, be you. Was there any questions about anything on here that I've went over?
I don't think so. You're awesome, by the way. Really awesome for, taking your time out to share it and just share it on the fly like that,
No, it worked out a lot better. And if anybody here is not really good on video or whatever, I'm better because I practice a lot on video. But my problem is I like to ramble. So I did find it way easier tonight to have that typed up before, because I used to just write it down on a piece of paper and then I'd still get sidetracked. But this, helps you flow. So if you're wanting to do something to where you're helping your team or talking about the business, I definitely can see. I used a free program called Canva, and it actually has a presentation. And so like if you made one picture yellow and use the same font, you can hit copy and it'll copy the next page. So all you have to do is change the wording, and it went really fast. I mean, it's taken me a while to learn how to make that a little bit simpler to do, but learn from my mistakes that you don't have to like make each page different, and just keep it simple. And it's just something to keep you, you might see amazing, fun, fancy. You should see all the ones I started tonight that I'm like, no, this is too complicated. Doesn't have to be that pretty. So I'm not a perfectionist. I like get too cluttered. So I'm like doing too much. And I'm like, that's defeats the purpose here. So just know that, yeah, even I don't like doing that, but it was worth it if you guys got something out of it. So what questions do you guys have? If you don't have a question, what's one thing or two things that you really got from this that's going to help you in your business or in your life?
I'm gonna start applying the post.
Good. Yeah, that'll help a lot.
Like something like, how do we start this? They take forever to post.
Yeah. I follow Danielle's Snapchat, and like last night, it was the funniest thing ever. She was saying that her husband takes like hours and hours to create one post. It was so funny. Did you see that one? It was
No, but I can imagine.
so she kept snapping, like, and she would put the time up on the snap, like when he was over there, and she's like, I'm just sitting here waiting to watch a movie. And then like the next snap would be, guess how many minutes it's been, and he's still over there, and he's like got his head down, he's like, stop it, and he's like, quit making So you're not the only one, Catherine, and I am too. You know, some of my best posts come on the pot. Like seriously, going to the bathroom, I have some of the most amazing ideas.
My husband teases me, and he teases me though, because he'll say, you say it's only going to take a minute,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, but then I'll backspace and then I'll rewrite it again, and I'll backspace and then I'll be like, oh wait, I forgot, I wanted to make sure I said this, and I'll go back and I'll edit it, and then I go, wait, that's too much. I should delete some more. To save some of it in a memo and pull it and do it in a separate post. I mean,
Yep. And
the
then,
next thing you know, it's been half an hour.
and then you're like looking at the picture. I'm like, that just doesn't pop. Like I need to edit that picture.
Yeah. I related a lot. I know I'm not on your team, but I'm glad I met you personally, felt comfortable enough to jump in
Yeah. Thank you.
to it. Because I wasn't able to go this year, and I had told myself last year that this was the year that I was going to go, and then I didn't. I guess I didn't make it priority early enough on,
Mm-hmm.
and I wound up not being able to go at the last minute. But then it all worked out because my two youngest got baptized.
Awesome. That's way more important.
Like that. So I was like, okay, God. So, but I'm thanking you because I related to a lot of what you shared from who you are and some of your own, personal like struggles and getting. I call it getting over myself, I guess, but
Yeah.
not allowing those. A huge step for me was the Josh Coates training just a few months back about fear, but the things you mentioned, particularly about being a believer and then worrying about what other people thought. And for me, it wasn't necessarily so much about what other people would think if I said God or something, but like in fact, like it inspired me to create a faith-focused kind of challenge group space, and I like to do the ongoing, so it builds a community. Yep. But for me too was, what are all those? Because when I moved to Texas a few years ago, I moved from serving in I'd been serving in ministry for 10 years up to that move, and then it was like all of my identity was like, Yeah. So when Beachbody fell on my lap and I started developing something, I was kind of like, how are my ministry friends gonna think of me?
Yeah.
When I say I'm a Beachbody coach,
Yeah. And
So.
I think that's what's going to help my new coaches so much, and your new coaches, if you share this with them, is because they don't have to feel weird about sharing Beachbody, because that's not what they're sharing anymore. If we can get away from sharing Beachbody, the products, I think that takes that scary factor away. And, you know, and I have people that are like, oh, well, I didn't realize you were trying to sell me something. And I say, that's okay. That's good. Because I'm not. I'm just sharing with you what worked for me. And if this is something that you're not ready to invest in, that's fine. I understand completely. And you give them that out. And that's the best thing you can do for people. One thing, I'm glad you said that. One thing right at the end, and I feel like I jumped on my team page the other day, and I probably won't be able to find it again, but he says, don't be a closer. There's a lot of trainings out there talking about how to close. How are you going to close them? How are you going to get them to buy that? How are you going to close them? You're not looking for closes. You're looking for people that are open to the business opportunity. You're looking for, you can even use those words when you're talking to people about the business opportunity or the challenge group. I'm just looking for people that are willing and open to take a look at this. It's not going to make or break me. It's not, because you know that God's going to bring the right people into your life. And when you take that pressure off of yourself and when you take that expectation away, you're going to feel, you won't feel as deflated so quickly. It's that expectation that Janice is out there selling all these challenge packs, and every single time she asks somebody, they sign up right away. That's BS. Not true. And even on the months that I hit Success Club 20, meaning I helped 10 people, you know, there to every 10, I had probably a good 7 or 8 say no. Or to every 1, I had 7 or 8 say no. You know, it's like 1 out of 10 usually say yes for me. But I am constantly talking to so many people. And so those people that said no, you know, 6 months, 2 years ago, they come around, you know, they keep following me. And because I stay consistent and continue to grow and share that growth, not, you know, and be who I am today, not who I was yesterday, or not the person that I want to pretend to be. And I'll be honest, there's many times I've copy pasted stuff because I'm just uninspired, right? I'll be uninspired and you'll hit those roadblocks too. Just promise me now that you know that you don't want to be a copy paste version of someone else. And I love that saying. I don't want to be a copy paste version, but sometimes I think, oh, well, it's got to be working for them. I love the way it's worded. Of course you love the way it's worded. You're a coach. It speaks to you, you know, but take it and personalize it and just put your own unique, amazing stamp on it. It's okay to be inspired and you know, get words from someone else, that those power words that they use, but then put your own story on it, you know, put your own spin, your own, and then take it back to that. You won't believe. So, you know, back in the day, that flow, that example that I gave you guys for your post, you know, put your own personal spin on it. And you never know if that post is really working for someone else. They could have 100 likes and they could all be Beachbody coaches. You don't know how those posts are actually working for them. It doesn't mean it is. So if it inspires you, great, but doesn't mean it will work for you either. So know that going in. Any other questions? Any other takeaways?
I really like the law of diminishing intent because I am a terrible procrastinator. So just focusing on the fact that I need to do it now or it's not going to get done, maybe that will help me.
Yeah, and Shalene's really good about that. You know, just 2 or 3 things that you have to do today. Shalene did like the push book. She has a 30-day push challenge that you could do, or just pick up her book. And she talks about that, you know, just, you know, you could do a big brain dump of all the things that you need to get done. That's great. There's nothing wrong with just getting that all off right before you go to bed. Keep a notebook next to you because that's where all my great ideas come. There or on the toilet, one of the two, and you just write it out, you know, and so that you can go to sleep. And half the time, if I don't go write it out, I do forget. Some amazing, right? I have some amazing ideas that I sleep on and lose. Yeah, and sometimes I like trying to like, oh, what was that? You know, like trying to force the facts back out. Yeah, they still, one good one still hasn't come back to me. I'm a little mad about that. But yeah, when you can write all those things down, but then make sure you go back to that list of things that inspired you or whatever, and put 2 or 3 things down that you actually do today. And then the other thing she always talks about is eat the frog. So whatever on that list is like the one thing you don't want to do the most, do that first. Mm-hmm. So that helps with procrastination. And I'm glad that you brought that up because, see, that's something I need to work on too. Like post op is like the last place I go. And I'm like, oh, God. Post office. I hate it. And I procrastinate about that. Anything else, Lisa?
I think just the template for the post will help.
Okay. And were you able to take notes on that, or did you guys just want the PDF
Yeah.
for those? Okay, good.
I took some, but if you can send the PDF, that would be great.
I'll put it in the team group and with this call too. I'll probably upload this tonight on YouTube, and in the morning I'll have the link. And if you guys don't have any other questions, Cammie, you good? Okay. All right. Well, I will let you go. Thank you so much for spending your night with me. It was exactly an hour. We did good. Woo woo. Awesome. Yes, I can't believe I got all that information out. I feel like I'm losing my voice. I talk too fast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Have a
you
good
very
night. Mwah. Thank you so much. Bye.
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 Bye.